Beyond our shores, an ancient predator roams the seas. Older than the dinosaurs. Older even than the first trees. Sharks have ruled the oceans for over 400 million years. From deep-sea scavengers to aerial assassins, camouflaged ambush killers, to pack hunters. Few predators are as adaptable or as successful. Around the world, scientists strive to better understand their lives.
Okay, stay low, stay low, stay low. Oh, you big, beautiful girl.
Revealing the secret superpowers of the ocean's ultimate predator. It's dawn on the edge of Australia's Great Barrier Reef. A green turtle makes her way back to the sea, leaving behind a precious clutch of eggs buried in the sand. She's traveled over 600 kilometers to this remote nesting site on Rain Island. One of 60,000 to return here each year. But her presence has been sensed. Offshore, tiger sharks gather. They smell an opportunity. The tiger's nose is one of the most sensitive on Earth. It picks up the turtle scent from hundreds of meters away. Ears, hidden beneath tiny openings on its head, can detect sound frequencies far lower than human ears. The hunt is on. The turtle is no easy meal. Armed with a sharp, snapping beak and a shell capable of withstanding over 3,000 newtons of pressure, her defenses are strong. "100 meters out, a sixth sense kicks in. The shark doesn't just smell the turtle, it begins to feel it. Pressure-sensitive cells running the length of its body pick up the turtle's every move. The tiger takes its time. There's no point in getting injured. It avoids the sharp beak and waits until the turtle is forced to take a breath. It attacks from behind. Over 40 serrated teeth saw through the turtle's shell. It's over in seconds. The shark's superior tactics and weaponry make short work of the turtle's defenses. Around the world, a community of scientists are trying to understand what makes sharks so successful. Here on Rain Island, Richard Fitzpatrick has spent 10 years studying this gathering of tigers.
Tiger sharks are the most impressive predator in the tropical oceans, and they're found all around the world. When it comes to prey items found in the stomach of a tiger shark, pretty well everything's been found in there. Turtles, dugong, marine mammals, seabirds, sea snakes, rays. In the past, because of this weird range of food, people regarded tiger sharks as just out there eating anything and everything. They were kind of relegated to being not very smart, but that is just totally wrong. All these different food types require a specific strategy, not only of how to attack the prey, but to know when and where that prey occurs.
For the past 10 years, the team have been catching Rain Island's tiger sharks and fitting them with state-of-the-art satellite transmitters. Their mission? To unlock the secret to the tiger's success.
White belly, I think we've got a tiger.
Oh, it's a big one. Whoa.
It's dangerous work.
Stay low, stay low, don't do it.
First, the team immobilized the tiger with a tail rope. Then they work fast to fit the tag.
Straight through this temple.
Yeah, I know, so
It will stay on for 2 years, transmitting the tiger's position to satellites in space whenever its fin breaks the surface.
Ready?
They went.
Oh, you big, beautiful girl.
Using this technology, the team have discovered that when the turtle nesting ends,
Bye-bye.
most of the tigers leave Rain Island too.
A lot of our animals head right out east into the Coral Sea, hundreds and thousands of kilometres offshore, where it's thousands of metres deep. You know, they're heading out towards New Caledonia, up to the Louisiades, animals going to New Guinea, and even around the top of Australia into the Gulf of Carpentaria. So they're going massive distances.
But incredibly, a year later, like clockwork, they return to this tiny dot in the ocean.
We caught one shark 2 years in a row at the same spot, the same hour, 365 days apart.
Not only do tigers find a way to navigate thousands of kilometers across open ocean with pinpoint accuracy, they also remember exactly when the turtles will be here. This ability is not unique to tigers. Wherever there are seasonal feeding opportunities, sharks appear out of nowhere. But how do they do it? On the other side of the globe, at the Zombie Shark Lab in North Carolina, scientist Kara Jopak is beginning to answer that question. Examining and scanning scores of shark and ray brains, she's made some surprising discoveries.
I think sharks get this reputation that they're these, pre-programmed small-brained eating machines. But what a lot of people are really surprised to find is just how complex their brains actually are. That sharks actually have relative brain sizes that are comparable to birds and mammals. They are capable of some incredibly complex behaviors. They are capable of learning. They can retain things in memory. And again, we've really, I think, only scratched the surface as far as what these animals are capable of doing behaviorally.
From the Arctic to the tropics, more than 500 different species of sharks roam our seas. No other apex predator is as wide-ranging or as successful. And Kara has discovered the key to the shark's success could lie in how their brains have evolved.
So shark brains are hugely variable in terms of both brain size as well as the size of some of their major brain structures. There are some species, like this mako here, which has dedicated a very large proportion of the brain to the regions that process visual cues. But if you compare this to, say, the brain of a deep sea shark, you would see those visual brain regions are much, much smaller.
Kara's groundbreaking work reveals sharks have evolved brains perfectly suited to the habitats they live in. And tiger sharks are no different.
What we find in their brains is really interesting because we see absolutely enormous olfactory bulbs.
The olfactory bulb is the area in the brain used to process smells. And in tiger sharks, it makes up nearly 30% of the brain's mass. Are they only using their highly developed sense of smell to find prey? Or could it have another use?
There's some evidence coming out that suggests these animals could be using odor cues in navigation. Much like we use visual cues to link locations, as in turn, right at this intersection. If locations have an odor cue, an animal could theoretically use that to get from place to place. If there is truth to the hypothesis, then we should see the largest olfactory bulbs in our most migratory sharks, which is, in fact, what we're seeing in my data so far.
Around the world, sharks' incredible sense of smell has allowed them to conquer territory after territory. Deep below the surface, a remote-operated vehicle scans the depths, looking for signs of life. Here, no sunlight penetrates. What little light that exists is produced by alien-looking creatures through chemical reactions. Largely unexplored, much of the deep is a vast desert. But despite continuous darkness, high pressure, near freezing temperatures, and scarce food, a giant lurks in these depths. Meet the six-gill. Reaching lengths of almost 5 meters, these hardy sharks have survived down here for more than 50 million years. But how do they do it? Their secret is gravity. The sea floor is the graveyard of the ocean. Anything that dies at the surface ends up down here. Off the coast of the Azores in the mid-Atlantic, scientists monitor the carcasses of whales. As they decompose, they release scent into the water. It's thought that the six-gill, like all sharks, can smell in stereo. Cells inside its nose can detect the microsecond delay it takes odors to reach one nostril before the other. With this superpower, six-gills can zero in on carcasses with incredible precision. The blood soon attracts more hungry scavengers. Serrated teeth on the upper jaw lock onto the flesh, while saw-like blades on the lower jaw rip chunks out of the carcass. Every centimeter of the shark's body is perfectly designed to take advantage of this windfall. "400 million years of evolution have produced shark teeth in every shape and size. And just like their brains, each shark species has a set of jaws perfectly designed for its favored prey. At his lab at the University of Florida, Gavin Naylor collects specimens from all over the globe.
Sharks' teeth are quite remarkable in terms of their engineering. Different species have got very characteristic shaped teeth. This is a juvenile tiger shark, and it has these cockscomb-shaped teeth on both the upper and the lower jaw. And these animals feed on many different things, but among them are turtles. And they'll clamp down on the turtle shell and saw through the carapace of the turtle. And these teeth allow them to do that really efficiently. Other sharks, like this one, are adapted for high-speed chasing of their prey. This is a mako. The fastest fish in the sea can go at burst speed up to 70 kilometers an hour. And you'll see that it's got these spike-like teeth all the way around the jaw. These teeth are designed exclusively just to be able to grab on to fast-moving prey items. They're not designed for cutting, for taking chunks out, just grabbing onto them and hanging onto them until they've either been subdued or they can be swallowed. But make no mistake about it, the real innovation in sharks' teeth is not the different kinds of teeth they have, but the fact that they're continuously replaced throughout their lifetime. Here on this lemon shark jaw, we can see rows and rows of teeth. These will move forward over the jaw from the back to the front. It's essentially a conveyor belt. And then as they get right to the front, they flick up and they stand up, ready for use. A typical shark may lose up to 30,000 teeth in a lifetime, which is incredibly useful. A lion in the savannah in Africa, as soon as it loses its teeth, is unable to catch prey and will die shortly afterwards. But sharks and rays continuously replace their teeth in this unusual way. The fact that these animals have this capacity has probably played an important role in their success.
Shark teeth also act as an important window into their past. At the nearby Montbrook dig site in northern Florida, Gavin's colleague, Jeanette Perlow, is unearthing shark fossils for the museum's collection.
A shark's skeleton is made out of cartilage. So if you think about the cartilage in our nose and our ears, which is fairly flexible but still holds structure, that is what a shark's body is made out of, and that cartilage does not preserve well in the fossil record.
In contrast, their teeth are made of tough enameloid. Using these fossils, scientists around the world have been able to piece together the evolutionary history of sharks.
Sharks showed up in the ocean around 450 million years ago. That's long before humans, long before dinosaurs, and even older than plants and trees.
Between then and now, most life on Earth has gone extinct. Victims of natural disasters, asteroid strikes, and withstand extreme changes in temperatures and sea levels. But somehow, sharks survived it all.
We think that sharks' adaptability helped them survive mass extinctions. So they were able to survive low oxygen levels in the ocean, find food, and find areas where they could survive.
Today, their adaptability and opportunistic nature continue to explain their success. From sharks that live up rivers, to sharks that can survive out of water. Wherever there is food, they'll hunt it down. Relying on a suite of super senses to do it. For some sharks, it's their eyes that are the key to their success.
Mossel Bay Port Control, Mossel Bay Port Control, this is Triton. Triton, permission to leave the harbor, over.
Off the southern tip of Africa, Enrico Gennari has been studying the hunting technique of the white shark for over 10 years.
At any given day, there could be between 40 and 60 great white sharks in this bay. And what draws them here is food.
Just a kilometer from shore lies Seal Island. A 200-meter-long rock home to over 4,000 Cape fur seals.
This is where the white shark have the highest chance to catch a seal. There's plenty of white sharks just underneath us, and they're waiting for the seal to go offshore to feed. And when they come back with a bit too much food on their belly, less attentive, that is when the white shark takes its chance and strike.
Towing a seal model behind his boat, Enrico mimics the movement of a seal. Over the last 10 years, he's witnessed and analyzed over 300 strikes. Revealing the secret to their success lies in their ability to spot and isolate seals at the surface.
White sharks are very visual hunters. They rely 100% on their vision.
White shark eyes are twice as big as our own, and their design is very similar. However, unlike humans, white sharks are likely colorblind. Their eyes, instead, highly sensitive to contrasts between light and dark areas. Seals, silhouetted against the surface, stand out in vivid relief.
The sharks around Seal Island here patrol at around 30 foot down. And when they identify their prey, they lock their target system on and they explode with a couple of tail beats out of the water.
Based on the angle of the breach, Enrico believes they attack vertically, from below.
I actually measured once an acceleration of 9 Gs. That is more than any jet pilot could ever experience. The White Shark Breach is like an opera masterpiece. There is a crescendo of emotion, of waiting for that event, and then the big explosion, and it's just beautiful to just witness.
With eyes like no other, white sharks are one of the most efficient hunters on the planet. But recently, scientists have discovered it's not their only superpower. With the aid of a cutting-edge robot called Remus, engineers at the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution have unlocked another secret to the shark's success.
Remus is an autonomous underwater vehicle. So it's an underwater robot that can drive itself. And it was originally developed mostly for military applications to be essentially a mine countermeasure, covering the seafloor, looking for man-made mines during the time of war.
Remus can go where no diver can, and Amy soon realized the technology had exciting potential in the world of shark research.
We were able to adapt that technology to not just look downward at the seafloor and image what was below us, but to look up and out and all around us. And what that enables us to do for the first time ever is to track a randomly moving animal like a white shark. And not only to track it, but to collect a lot of scientific data and, more importantly, video, so you can actually see what the animal is doing and how it's interacting within its environment.
The team tag white sharks with an acoustic transponder. Remus then locks onto the signal it gives off, allowing it to shadow the shark for up to 8 hours at a time.
So SharkCam technology is more or less the most advanced game of Marco Polo you've ever played. So there's an acoustic ping that goes out from the Remus SharkCam, and then when it hears it, it wakes up and then sends 2 pings back. And the vehicle does a lot of complex onboard processing that enables it to figure out where the animal is and predict where the animal is going to go.
Amy has taken the robot to the remote island of Guadalupe in the Pacific. Here, huge elephant seals, weighing over 2,000 kilos, gather to breed. And big prey draws in big predators. Measuring almost 6 meters, Guadalupe's white sharks are some of the largest on Earth. For 6 months of the year, they gather here to feed on any seals that stray too far from the beach.
Yeah, in Guadalupe, white sharks turn out to be highly visual predators. That meant that everything it was trying to eat was also going to be using their sight to not get eaten. So it was important for sharks to do everything they possibly could to use the environment to hide. So there's multiple ways they did that. One that we documented was the white sharks swimming down at depth, hunting at the edge of darkness. So if something like a seal were to look down, it wouldn't easily be able to see the white shark because of the dark color of its skin, and it could hide in the shadows. And in shallower water, the white sharks would hug the seafloor, and the seafloor is murky and dark and had rocks, and it would camouflage itself as it was swimming. So it knew, whether it was in deep water or shallow water close to the beach, that it had its best chances of using its camouflage capability to hide.
Seal spotted, the shark makes its move.
To capture these vertical strikes and to see the pure brute strength of these creatures, I was awed, I was inspired.
And it wasn't just the seals getting attacked.
There was just huge great white shark bites all along the side of the vehicle shell. And I remember just being like, holy cow, like, we were attacked. So that was, that was a bit terrifying at first. And it wasn't like I was terrified of the shark. I was terrified of losing, my robot friend over here. But we're doing it for science. And you can't make big observations without pushing the envelope and taking big risks. People have hypothesized on what sharks are doing down in the deep, but no one's actually ever seen it before until now. They are highly intelligent creatures, and you can see that in the footage, and they're out there doing what we're all trying to do, is find our next meal.
Amy's work has helped reveal the effort white sharks put in to stay hidden from their prey, using stealth to ambush at high speeds. But one shark takes camouflage to a whole new level, foregoing the need for any chase, using mimicry and cunning to get food delivered right to its door. The tasseled wobbegong lives amongst the reefs of Southeast Asia and Australia, where its patterned skin blends in perfectly with its surroundings. Unlike the speedy white shark, the wobbegong has to get close to its prey to make a kill. When this adult male finds a suitable ambush spot, he settles down. The tassels on his chin break up his outline, mimicking the coral around him. He keeps his body still, except for his tail, which he flicks around to lure in unexpected prey. Patience is the name of the game. The wobbegong's skin is made up of thousands of tiny tooth-like scales, known as denticles. Their patterning provides the wobbegong with its unique markings, allowing it to go completely undetected. The denticles are also hydrodynamic. They enable the shark to spring forward with incredible acceleration. Opening its mouth, the wobbegong creates a vacuum, sucking the fish down whole. Like teeth, the denticles that help camouflage and streamline the sharks are unique to each species. And they're so robust, they often survive in the fossil record. At Yale University in America, scientists have been able to use their presence to help understand when and how modern sharks evolved.
Denticles come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, and I think they're absolutely gorgeous. On 1 square centimeter of shark skin, you might have several thousand denticles. That's the same number of teeth that a shark might shed throughout its entire lifetime. So what we find is that there's actually thousands of times more denticles in the fossil record than there are of teeth.
Just the width of human hair, denticles can only be studied under a microscope. Their subtle differences reveal that an event 251 million years ago triggered the rise of modern sharks.
So the end Permian mass extinction was one of the biggest mass extinctions that we know of on the planet. We think was probably caused by a major supervolcano that put a ton of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, really acidified the oceans, and wiped out over 99% of species on the planet. The sharks, they managed to make it through this really pretty disastrous time relatively unscathed. And in fact, the sharks that did survive this extinction event gave rise to the modern sharks that we see in the ocean today.
The oldest known group of sharks still swimming in our seas are the cow sharks. These living fossils, which include this seven-gill, are thought to have roamed our oceans for at least 175 million years. They're opportunistic feeders. Everything from dolphins to sea snails have been found inside their stomachs. It's this versatility that's allowed them to survive unchanged for millennia.
Evolution drives change when it's necessary to improve survival. But sharks seem to have figured out a recipe that really works for them. They all start with this basic body plan, this streamlined body plan where you've got this conical shape that's got tapering on either end. That allows them to move efficiently through the water. They have these cartilaginous skeletons that give them the ability to be maneuverable. And they're covered in these denticles that give them improved fluid dynamics and potentially protection from parasites. But then they also have a lot of diversity in their jaws and in their teeth and in their fin shape and how they move that allows them to specialize in on different prey. And that's one of the ways that I think sharks are able to survive so well in the ocean today.
Off the remote Indonesian island of Alor, in the Banda Sea, lives a shark with a design that has long puzzled scientists. One of the most threatened sharks on Earth, the pelagic thresher spends most of its time out in the open ocean, hunting for squid and fish in the deep. Their distinctive large eyes specially adapted to hunt in low-light conditions. But for decades, shark experts have been puzzled by one evolutionary adaptation: the length of their tails.
Thresher sharks can reach up to 3 meters in length, and then their tail can be half of their total body length. Many scientists still don't know why the tail of the thresher shark is so long, so it's still quite a mystery.
Rafid Shidki has been studying pelagic threshers for over 4 years, and he's begun to unearth the purpose of their long tail.
Thresher sharks are quite an elusive species. They're very shy, and they live in the deep ocean, so we still don't know much about them.
Reports from local fishermen gave Rafid his first lead.
Most sharks usually catch their prey by using their mouth, but the fact that the fishermen in Alor are catching thresher sharks by the tail, it raises some questions.
Then, off the remote island of Pescador in the Philippines, a diver captured this incredible behavior. The thresher spots a shoal of fish. It races towards them before stalling and slapping its tail into the shoal. The pressure waves produced by the tail slap knock out a few fish. The thresher then moves in to feast. Its long tail is its secret superpower.
I think the footage from the Philippines is very exciting. Thresher sharks is the only shark in the world that use their tail to hunt for prey.
Today, Rafid and his team is working with the fishermen to tag and release these sharks. The data they collect will reveal what draws these elusive sharks to these waters and how they can better protect them. Sharks are arguably the most successful group of predators to have ever lived. Today, they range in size from the length of a human hand to more than 12 meters, and have perfected the art of catching wildly different prey. Some rely on their tails, others sight or smell. And for some, it's a secret superpower so sensitive, no living creature can escape. Cocos Island, the Pacific. An isolated volcano rising out of the ocean. By day, the creatures of the reef feed amongst the coral. But as dusk falls, they start to retreat into holes and crevices. With good reason. White-tip reef sharks begin to gather in packs. They swarm over the reef, searching for electrical signals. The beating of a heart, the movement of a gill. Even brain activity can give off a tiny electrical charge. Electroreceptors concentrated on the nose of the white tip can detect these signals with incredible sensitivity. Just 1/1,000,000th of a volt can give prey away. It's a super sense few creatures possess, and it's deadly effective. The pack pick up on a charge. Working alone, a shark would not be able to catch the agile fish. But ganging up, the tables are turned. This strategy has proved so effective that other sharks have learned to cash in on the white tip's skill. 6,000 kilometers across the Pacific, at the remote coral atoll of Fakarava, a rival gang used the white tip's ability to flush out prey to their own advantage, taking shark smarts to a new level. By day, the gray reef sharks ride the currents. But as night falls, they drop to the sea floor, forming the biggest pack of gray reef sharks on Earth. For the past 10 years, a team of international scientists led by Laurent Balesta have studied the sharks here. Using state-of-the-art high-speed cameras and time-splice technology to spy on their behavior.
Diving in the channel at night is one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen, because you basically have 3, 4, perhaps 500 reef sharks literally tearing up the reef going after reef fish, many of which are hiding in the coral, and they will actually smash up the coral sometimes trying to get at those reef fish.
With so many tiny places to hide, the stocky grey reef sharks struggle to get close to their agile prey. But in amongst the pack are a number of smaller, white-tip reef sharks.
Now, the advantage white tips have is that they can actually go inside the holes in the coral. They're much more flexible than the grey reefs, and they don't have to swim continuously to pump water or to get water flowing over their gills. So they're able to get into these sort of smaller crevices and go into areas that the grey reefs can't go.
Folding its fins back, this white tip squeezes inside a gap in the coral. It flushes out a fish. Instantly, the larger grey reef sharks rush in and steal the kill.
So what we actually saw was that when grey reefs were hunting with or adjacent to white-tip reef sharks, their foraging success went up, sometimes by about 20%, because they could take advantage of those fish that were fleeing the white tips and coming out of their shelters and coming out of regions that the grey reefs could not have gone by themselves. And they essentially steal the white tips' prey.
While common in mammals like hyenas and jackals, this type of behavior, known as kleptoparasitism, is rarely seen in the shark world. One predator using the wiles of another to catch more food.
Traditionally, we probably think of sharks as being quite simple, nomadic predators. And over the last few years, we've started to realize that that's probably not true. They're actually capable of quite complex social behaviors and hunting as a group.
When a kill is made, it can trigger a writhing ball of sharks. So driven by the desire to be first to the prey, they crash into the divers.
There's just sharks everywhere. They're just going after reef fish. You hit the bottom and it's just on.
You know, I've been fortunate to dive all over the world with sharks, and I've never in my life seen something like that. That was beyond belief.
Sharks have ruled our seas for millions of years. They have thrived where others have failed, and are vital to the health of our oceans. Today, we know more about their lives than we ever have. From nose to tail, sharks have adapted every part of their bodies to give themselves a predatory edge. Armed with a suite of unrivaled super senses, they have developed wildly different tactics to take down their prey. They are the planet's ultimate predator.